The elevator doors opened with a soft chime, and Clara pushed her cleaning cart onto the 47th floor of Voss Tower, and the late autumn sun spilled all the way across the marble floors, stretching long, thin shadows all the way to the wall. She moved quiet, the way she always did. She had learned over 2.5 years that the best thing you can be when you clean offices is invisible. People don't mind you if they don't see you. This floor belonged to Elias Voss, 34-year-old billionaire, the man who built the fastest-growing software company in the country. Clara had cleaned his office every Wednesday and Friday night for 7 months. In all 7 months, he had never once looked directly at her. He had never once spoken to her. She could have been a lamp. She could have been a filing cabinet. That night was different. She was 10 feet from his office doors when she heard them laughing. Loud, easy, careless laughter. The kind of laughter only people who have never feared hunger ever make. The door was cracked open. She stopped. She did not mean to eavesdrop. She just froze. Elias was leaned back in his desk chair, suit jacket thrown over the armrest. 3 of his friends sat across from him, each holding a glass of whiskey that cost more than Clara's entire weekly paycheck. "Bro, you have to do it," the blonde one said, grinning. "Invite her to your birthday gala. It will be the funniest shit that ever happens. She'll show up in something from Goodwill. Everyone will lose their minds." "For real," the other one said. "It's the event of the year. Every single person that matters will be there. Having the cleaning lady walk in will be the best entertainment all night. She will stick out so bad it's perfect." Clara held her breath. She waited for Elias to say no. She waited for him to say that was messed up, that she was a person. Instead, he swirled his whiskey and he smiled. "You know what? Yeah, that actually sounds funny. I could use a laugh. Everything has been so damn serious lately." The third one leaned forward. "And do it public. Invite her right in front of the rest of the staff. Everyone will know. The betting pool alone will be worth it. Half the guys will bet she doesn't show up." And they all laughed. The sound bounced off the glass walls, and it went right through Clara's chest. She gripped the handle of her cart, so tight her knuckles went white. 2 years ago, she would have marched in there and told them all to go to hell. 2 years ago, she had the luxury of pride. Now she had rent due in 4 days. She had a 7-year-old daughter asleep at her mother's house. She had no other options. She stood there perfectly still until they left. They walked right past her in the hallway, still chuckling, and they did not see her, not even a little bit. Then Clara knocked soft on the door frame. "Come in," Elias said. He looked up from his phone when she walked in, and for the first time in 7 months, he actually said her name. "Clara, good. I was hoping you'd be here. I wanted to ask you something." She kept her eyes down on the spot just past his left shoulder. "Yes, Mr. Voss. I'm having my birthday gala in 2 weeks. Black tie, 5-star hotel, orchestra, all of it. I would like you to come, as my guest." The words hung in the air. She knew exactly what it was. She knew it was a joke. She knew every single person in that room would be waiting to laugh at her. She thought of her daughter's backpack that had a hole in the bottom. She thought of the electricity bill she had already extended twice. She thought of her grandmother, who had told her once, when she was little, "No one can ever make you small. Only you can do that. And when someone hands you a door, even if they hand it to you to mock you, you walk through it." "That is very kind of you, Mr. Voss," she said. Her voice did not shake. "I would be honored to attend." Elias's smile widened, and for half a second, he looked surprised. He had expected her to say no. That was the joke. "Wonderful. My assistant will send you the details. Black tie, of course." "Of course. Will that be all?" "Yes. You can start cleaning now." Clara nodded. She turned and walked into his private bathroom, closed the door behind her, and leaned back against it. Her heart was beating so hard she thought it would break through her ribs. She had just agreed to walk into a room full of the richest people in the city, who would all be waiting to laugh at her. She had just agreed to give them exactly what they wanted, but she had also just agreed to take the door they had handed her. She looked at herself in the bathroom mirror. Fluorescent light, dark circles under her eyes, her hair pulled back in a rubber band blue cleaning uniform. She barely recognized herself. 3 years before, she had walked into rooms exactly like that gala. 3 years before, she had been one of the most respected interior designers in the city. She had designed offices just like this one. She had gone to galas. She had owned dresses that cost $1,000. And then her husband had left. He had emptied every bank account. He had disappeared. And she had lost everything. The house, the business, everything. She had taken the only job she could get because it paid cash every week, and it was the only thing that kept her daughter fed. For 3 years, she had been invisible. For 3 years, people had looked right through her. And now this boy had invited her to his party as a joke. He had no idea he had just handed her life back. He had no idea what his cruel joke had set into motion. She walked out of the building that night, and she did not cry. She rode the bus home, and she sat there the whole ride, and she made one single decision. She would go. She would walk into that ballroom with her head up. She would not yell. She would not argue. She would not prove anything to anyone. She would just be there, and that would be enough. Her apartment was on the 3rd floor of an old brick building. The elevator had been broken for 6 months. She climbed the stairs, her legs sore from 12 hours on her feet. Her mom was on the couch, watching cartoons with her daughter Lila. Lila ran and hugged her legs, and Clara held her tight, and she did not tell anyone what had happened. That night after they were asleep, she opened the closet at the very back, and all the way at the bottom, under a pile of old blankets, was the dress. It was navy blue silk. She had bought it for her own 30th birthday, for years before. It was the nicest thing she had ever owned. She had not touched it since everything fell apart. She had thought she would never wear it again. She pulled it out, she held it up, and it still fit. But that was not the part that made her stop breathing. She had forgotten. In the inside pocket, there was a folded-up piece of paper. It was the original design sketch for Elias Voss's office. She had designed it 3.5 years before she lost everything. She had been the lead designer on this very building. She had picked every single piece of marble on this floor. She had chosen the desk he sat at. She had chosen the rug under his chair. She had designed every inch of the room he ruled over. And he had no idea. He did not just not know who she was. He did not know she had built his world. The next day at work, Mabel found her in the break room. Mabel was 72. She washed the windows of the building, and she had seen everything. She slid a cup of coffee across the table to Clara. "You look like you just carried a mountain up the stairs." Clara told her. She told her everything. She had not told anyone. Not her mom. Not her best friend. But she told Mabel. Mabel listened. She did not interrupt. When Clara was done, she sat back and she smiled. "Good. Good? Mabel, they're going to laugh at me. Let them laugh. For 10 minutes. And then they will stop. And then you'll be the only person in that whole room who knows exactly who you are. That is a superpower. There's not a single man in that ballroom that has that." She leaned forward. "And I know something you don't. I knew Elias Voss when he was 19. He used to bag groceries at the Safeway on Oak Street. His mom was a nurse. He grew up in a trailer park. He forgot. But I haven't." Clara stared at her. "He didn't inherit nothing. He built all this. And then he forgot where he came from. And now you're going to walk in there, and you're going to remind him. I don't have shoes." Clara said quiet. "I don't have earrings. I don't have anything else." Mabel reached into her purse. She pulled out a pair of pearl earrings. "These were my mother's. I wore them to my wedding. They look better on you. And I will drive you. And I will wait outside in the car if you need to run. But you won't need to run." For the next 2 weeks, Clara cleaned his office exactly like she always did. She vacuumed the rug she had chosen. She wiped down the desk she had picked out. And every single time, Elias would look up at her. He would watch her, and she could see it. He was already starting to doubt the joke. 3 days before the gala, she overheard him in the hallway talking to his assistant. "Did Clara confirm she is coming?" "Yes, sir. She said she will be there." Elias was quiet for a long time. "I messed up. I shouldn't have done that. If anyone says anything to her that night, anyone, You bring them to me, and they're gone. No exceptions. You understand? Clara stood behind the janitor's closet, and she held her breath. He had already lost the joke. He just didn't know it yet. The night of the gala came. Mabel came over to help her get ready. She did Clara's hair soften up. She put the pearl earrings in her ears. She zipped up the navy blue dress, and she stepped back, and she nodded. There she is. Clara looked in the mirror, and for the first time in 3 years, she saw herself. Not the cleaner, not the single mom. Her, the woman she used to be, the woman she still was. Mabel drove her to the hotel. She pulled up to the red carpet, and she squeezed Clara's hand. You don't owe anyone anything. You don't have to be brave. You just have to be there. That is already enough. Clara nodded. She got out of the car. The doorman opened the door for her. He did not look at her like she didn't belong. He held the door. He bowed his head just a little. She walked into the ballroom. It was enormous. Crystal chandeliers. Live orchestra. 500 people in tuxedos and gowns. And for half a second, every single thing in her wanted to turn around and run. And then she lifted her chin, and she walked in. People glanced at her as she passed. Their eyes widened. They did not laugh. They did not sneer. They just looked, because she moved like she belonged there. Because she did. She walked all the way to the bar, and she ordered a glass of champagne. And then she turned, and she looked across the room. Elias was standing by the stage, surrounded by senators and CEOs and celebrities. He was laughing. He was the king of the room. And then he saw her. His smile died. He went pale. He froze. Every single person around him kept talking, and he did not hear a single word. He just stared. He had expected frumpy. He had expected nervous. He had expected the cleaning lady. He did not expect this woman. He did not expect the woman who had built his office. He excused himself. He did not say goodbye to anyone. He walked straight through the crowd. People tried to stop him. They tried to wish him happy birthday. He did not see them. His eyes never left her. He stopped 3 feet in front of her, and he did not say anything for almost 10 seconds. You came, he said. His voice was quiet, shaky. You invited me, Clara said. He looked at her, and you could see it, right there on his face, every single thing he was feeling. Shock, shame, awe, and then slow, horrible realization. I know that dress, he said, quiet. I saw it in your portfolio. When we interviewed you for the building, you were the designer. Clara nodded. I designed this floor. I designed your desk. I designed the rug you are standing on right now. Elias breathed out slow, and he looked like he was about to be sick. Oh my God. I know you invited me as a joke, Clara said. Her voice was soft. She was not angry. That's all right. You handed me an invitation, and I accepted it. That is how this works. I am so sorry, he said, and he meant it. You could hear it. He was not performing. He was not apologizing for an audience. I am so fucking sorry. There is no excuse. I was an asshole. I forgot what it feels like to be the person no one sees. And I did the worst thing you can do. I made someone else feel invisible. He paused. He looked around the room at all the rich, powerful people, and then he looked back at her. None of these people belong here more than you do, and I am so ashamed. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I need you to know you're the only person in this whole room that I am actually glad came. He did not make a big speech. He did not announce her to the room. He did not try to make it right with grand gestures. He just stood there, and he talked to her for an hour. He asked her about her daughter. He asked her what happened. He listened, and later that night, when he got up to give his birthday speech, he did not talk about business. He did not talk about success. He said the only thing that matters in this life is seeing people, the people you walk past every day, the people you don't look at, the people who make your world work, and who you never thank. No one in the room knew what he was talking about, but Clara did. She left at 11. Elias walked her to the door. He told her he would have a contract on her desk Monday morning to come back and design his new headquarters. He told her she could name her price. She thanked him, and then she got in Mabel's car, and they drove home On the ride back, Mabel looked over at her. So did you win? Clara smiled. I didn't go there to win. I went there to stop hiding. And that was the part that no one ever tells you. He did not save her. He did not rescue her. He invited her as a joke. And all she did was show up. That was all she had to do. Sometimes that is all you ever have to do. You don't have to fight. You don't have to yell. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You just have to show up exactly as you are. And that is enough. If you have ever felt invisible, if you have ever felt like the world has forgotten who you really are, know this. No one can take your dignity. No one can take your worth. And sometimes the cruelest joke someone ever plays on you can end up being the greatest gift you ever received. If this story touched you, please subscribe to The Timeless Tale and leave a comment below. What would you have done? Would you have gone? And remember, the people who try to make you feel small have no idea how tall you actually are. The Grand Sterling Hotel had been built in the 1920s. It wore its history like a well-tailored suit. The lobby was all marble and gold leaf, the ceiling high enough that voices stayed soft and did not echo. Clara walked across the floor, her heels clicking quiet and steady. The sound was a rhythm she had not heard in years. It was the sound of a woman who was not hurrying. The ballroom doors were open. Inside, the orchestra was playing something soft and classical, the kind of music that made people lean closer to each other to talk. The air smelled of perfume and champagne and a faint, clean scent of linen. Clara stopped at the entrance. For a moment, she stood there, and she let the room be what it was. She let herself feel the fear. She let herself feel the old ache of belonging. She did not push it away. She just breathed. Then she walked in. She moved toward the bar at the far end of the room, not because she wanted to drink, but because it gave her a place to stand. She ordered a glass of champagne. The bartender did not look at her with suspicion. He poured it and slid it across the polished wood. She took a sip. It was cold and bright. She turned and leaned against the bar, and she looked. The room was full of people who had never known hunger, people who had never had to choose between paying the electric bill and buying their kid a new pair of shoes, people who had never had to scrub a toilet while wondering if they would be able to keep their home. And yet, she did not hate them. She did not even envy them. She just saw them. She saw the way they laughed with their eyes closed. She saw the way they touched each other's arms when they talked. She saw the way they held their glasses, the way they stood, the way they moved. And she saw herself. She saw the woman she had been, and the woman she was becoming. She took another sip of champagne. A woman in a red dress walked up to the bar and ordered a drink. She turned to Clara and smiled. Hi, I'm Courtney. Clara, I haven't seen you here before. Are you friends with Elias? Clara thought about the word friends. She thought about the word invite. I work for him, she said. He invited me. Oh, that's nice. He's a good guy. Clara did not say anything. Courtney sipped her drink. You look amazing in that dress. Navy is such a power color. Thank you. Are you in tech? I used to be in design. Oh, cool. I'm in finance. It's boring, but it pays. They talked for a few minutes. Courtney was easy to talk to. She did not ask too many questions. She did not try to figure Clara out. She just treated her like a person. And Clara felt herself relax. Just a little. She looked across the room again. And then she saw him, Elias Voss, standing by the stage, surrounded by a circle of people. He was laughing at something someone said. He looked comfortable. He looked like he owned the world. And then he looked up, and he saw her. His smile died. He went pale. He froze. Every single person around him kept talking, and he did not hear a single word. He just stared. He had expected frumpy. He had expected nervous. He had expected the cleaning lady. He did not expect this woman. He did not expect the woman who had built his office. He excused himself. He did not say goodbye to anyone. He walked straight through the crowd. People tried to stop him. They tried to wish him happy birthday. He did not see them. His eyes never left her. He stopped 3 feet in front of her, and he did not say anything for almost 10 seconds. You came, he said. His voice was quiet, shaky. You invited me. Clara said, He looked at her, and you could see it right there on his face, every single thing he was feeling. Shock, shame, awe, and then slow, horrible realization. I know that dress, he said quiet. I saw in your portfolio. When we interviewed you for the building, you were the designer. Clara nodded. I designed this floor. I designed your desk. I designed the rug you are standing on right now. Elias breathed out slow, and he looked like he was about to be sick. Oh my God. I know you invited me as a joke. Clara said. Her voice was soft. She was not angry. That's all right. You handed me an invitation, and I accepted it. That is how this works. I am so sorry, he said, and he meant it. You could hear it. He was not performing. He was not apologizing for an audience. I am so fucking sorry. There is no excuse. I was an asshole. I forgot what it feels like to be the person no one sees. And I did the worst thing you can do. I made someone else feel invisible. He paused. He looked around the room at all the rich, powerful people, and then he looked back at her. None of these people belong here more than you do, and I am so ashamed. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I need you to know you are the only person in this whole room that I am actually glad came. Clara did not say anything for a moment. She took a sip of her champagne. She let the silence sit between them. Why did you do it? She asked. Why invite me as a joke? Elias looked down at his shoes, then back up at her. Because I'm an idiot who's been living in a bubble for too long. Because I forgot how to see people as people instead of just their job titles or bank accounts. Because my friends are terrible influences, and I've let them make me terrible, too. There's no good excuse. I was cruel, and I'm sorry. Truly sorry. Clara watched him. She saw the sweat on his forehead. She saw the way his hands were shaking. She saw the shame, and she saw something else. Regret. Not the performative kind. Not the kind that wants to be forgiven so it can feel better. The real kind. The kind that hurts. Thank you, she said. He blinked. Thank you? For the apology. For meaning it. He swallowed. What happens now? Clara thought about that. She thought about the joke. She thought about the invitation. She thought about the dress and the pearls and the drive over. Now, she said, I finished my champagne. And I enjoy the party. He stared at her. You're not going to yell at me or make a scene? Clara smiled. It was a small smile. It was not cruel. It was not kind. It was just honest. Why would I do that? I have nothing to prove. I already know who I am. Elias looked at her for a long time. He looked like he was seeing her for the first time. Can I sit with you? He asked. Clara nodded. He pulled out a chair for her at a nearby table. He sat down across from her. He did not try to fill the silence. He just sat there, and they sat in silence for a while. The orchestra played. People laughed. The room was full of life. And the two of them sat at their table, and they were quiet. After a few minutes, Elias spoke. Tell me about your daughter. Clara looked at him. How do you know I have a daughter? I don't. I want to know about you. The real you. Clara thought about Lila. She thought about her laugh. She thought about the way she drew pictures of horses and made up stories about them. She's 7, Clara said. She loves horses. She wants to be a vet when she grows up. She has a stuffed horse named Barnaby that she sleeps with every night. She's the reason I get up in the morning. Elias listened. He really listened. Tell me about your husband, he said. Clara's breath caught. She had not talked about him in a long time. Not to anyone. He left, she said, 3 years ago. He took everything. The money, the house, the business. He just disappeared. I found out later he had been stealing from clients for months. He framed me for it. I lost everything. I lost my career. I lost my home. I lost my friends. I took the cleaning job because it was the only thing I could get. I kept my daughter fed. I kept a roof over our heads. That was all I could do. Elias did not say anything. He just sat there and listened. When she was done, he looked at her. I am so sorry, he said. Don't be, Clara said. It's not your fault. It's not your fault either. Clara looked down at her hands. I know. They sat in silence again. After a while, Elias spoke. "I grew up in a trailer park," he said. "My mom was a nurse. She worked 2 jobs. I used to bag groceries at Safeway to help out. I remember what it felt like to be hungry. I remember what it felt like to be invisible. And then I built this company. And I forgot what it felt like. I got surrounded by people who only care about money and status. I let them make me into someone I'm not." Clara looked at him. "You can change." He looked at her. "Can I?" "Yes," she said, "if you want to." He nodded slowly. "I want to." They talked for another hour. He asked her about her design work. He asked her about the building. He asked her about her parents. She asked him about his mom. She asked him about his first business idea. They talked like 2 people who had known each other for a long time. And then the orchestra started playing a slow song. Elias stood up. He held out his hand. "Would you like to dance?" he asked. Clara looked at his hand. She looked at his face. She looked at the room full of people who were watching them. She took his hand. They walked to the dance floor. He put his hand on her waist. She put her hand on his shoulder. They started to move, and they danced. They did not say anything. They just danced. And the room watched. And the room saw. They saw a billionaire dancing with his cleaner. They saw a man who had made a cruel joke, and a woman who had shown up anyway. They saw 2 people who had nothing in common, and yet, in that moment, they had everything. When the song ended, Elias let her go. "Thank you," he said. "For what?" "For coming. For forgiving me. For reminding me who I am." Clara smiled. "You're welcome." She walked back to her table. She finished her champagne. She watched the room. She watched the people. And she felt like herself. She did not feel like a cleaner. She did not feel like a victim. She did not feel like a joke. She felt like Clara, and that was enough. Later that night, Elias got up to give his birthday speech. He stood on the stage, and he looked out at the crowd. "Thank you all for coming," he said. "I know you're all expecting me to talk about business, about success, about the future of Vostech, but I'm not going to talk about any of that tonight." He paused. "Tonight, I want to talk about the people we don't see, the people who make our lives possible, the people who clean our offices, who drive our cars, who serve our food, the people who are invisible to us. And I want to say thank you to every single one of you. And I want to promise that from now on, I will see you. I will see you." No one in the room knew exactly what he was talking about, but Clara did. She stood up. She did not make a scene. She did not draw attention to herself. She just stood up, and she started to walk toward the door. Elias saw her go. He did not try to stop her. She walked out of the ballroom and into the lobby and out the front doors. Mabel was waiting in the car, just like she said she would be. Clara got in, and she leaned her head back against the seat. "Ready to go home?" Mabel asked. "Yeah," Clara said. "I'm ready." The next Monday, Clara went to work at Voss Tower like she always did. She pushed her cart onto the 47th floor. She started cleaning. When she walked into Elias's office, he was there. He stood up when she walked in. "Good morning, Clara," he said. "Good morning, Mr. Voss." He walked over to his desk and picked up a folder. He handed it to her. "I promised you a contract," he said. "This is for the design of my new headquarters. I want you to lead the project. I want you to design it from the ground up. You can name your price." Clara took the folder. She opened it. She looked at the first page. It was a contract, a real contract, with her name on it. She looked up at him. "Thank you," she said. "You don't have to accept," he said. "You can say no. I won't be offended." Clara thought about it. She thought about the money. She thought about the security. She thought about being able to provide for Lila. But that was not why she was going to say yes. She was going to say yes because she wanted to design again. She was going to say yes because she wanted to use her gift. She was going to say yes because she was ready to stop hiding. "I accept," she said. Elias smiled. It was a real smile, a smile of relief, a smile of gratitude. "Thank you," he said. "You're welcome," Clara said. She turned to leave. "Clara," he said. She turned back. "I'm sorry," he said, "for the joke, for everything." Clara nodded. I know. She walked out of his office, and she pushed her cart to the next room, and as she cleaned, she hummed. She hummed a song she had not hummed in years. It was a song her mother used to sing to her when she was a little girl, and for the first time in a long time, she felt like herself. The next day, Clara went to the bank. She walked in, and she asked for a meeting with a loan officer. She sat down and she told her story. She told him about her husband, about the cleaning job, about the contract, and she asked for a loan to start her own design business. The loan officer listened. She looked at Clara's contract. She looked at Clara's portfolio. She looked at Clara's face, and she approved the loan. Clara walked out of the bank, and she stood on the sidewalk, and she looked up at the sky, and she breathed. She breathed in the air of a new day. She breathed in the air of a new life. A month later, Clara walked into her new office. It was a small space, just one room, but it was hers. She had a desk. She had a computer. She had a drawing table. She had a window that looked out onto the street. She sat down at her desk, and she opened her laptop, and she started to work. She worked on the design for Elias's new headquarters. She worked on other projects. She worked on building her business. And every day she walked into her office, and she felt like herself. She felt like Clara. 6 months later, she went back to Voss Tower. She walked onto the 47th floor. She walked into Elias's office. He was there. He stood up when she walked in. "Clara," he said, "it's good to see you." "You too," she said. "How is the new headquarters coming along?" "It's coming along great. I think you're going to love it." "I know I will," he said. They talked for a while. They talked about the design. They talked about Lila. They talked about Mabel. And then Clara stood up to leave. "Wait," Elias said. "Before you go, I just want to say thank you for everything, for showing up, for forgiving me, for reminding me who I am." Clara smiled. "You're welcome." She walked out of his office, and she pushed her cart to the next room. And as she cleaned, she hummed. She hummed a song she had not hummed in years. It was a song her mother used to sing to her when she was a little girl. And for the first time in a long time, she felt like herself. The story ends here. If you have ever felt invisible, if you have ever felt like the world has forgotten who you really are, know this: no one can take your dignity. No one can take your worth. And sometimes the cruelest joke someone ever plays on you can end up being the greatest gift you ever received. If this story touched you, please subscribe to The Timeless Tale and leave a comment below. What would you have done? Would you have gone? And remember, the people who try to make you feel small have no idea how tall you actually are.